Hi, what's up guys? I'm Parry and today I wanted to show you guys how I made a Chris Brown style beat in Logic Pro. So for this beat, Chris Brown has a lot of different styles and sounds over the years. This instrumental is kind of an instrumental you might see in his last album, 1111. I was going for that type of style and vibe. Overall, for what we got the melodies, bass, drums, and effects. This instrumental is kind of heavy on the drums. There's a lot of drums in here, and then the bass is kind of loud too. The melodies are a lot simpler. So we'll probably start with the melodies, then I'll show you the bass, then I'll show you the drums, and then the effects. So let's get into it right now. Alright, here's the pad sound that I got out of Alchemy that plays throughout, I'll say probably majority of the song. I'll play it for you a little bit. Alright, that gives you a good idea of the pad that I got, and again that plays throughout most of the track. And then occasionally on the pre-chorus and hooks I have mallets that come in. Now the mallets, I have one that has a lot of low end and high end cut in it, that plays during the pre-hook or pre-chorus, and then I have the regular version that plays in the hook, and that's the only time it really plays for the most part. And I'll play that for you. Nothing too crazy there, but we got the same thing here, except I took out some elements, and then I already told you about the EQ. So this is what it sounds like. And I did add some tape delay too. So that plays during the pre-chorus section. Every once in a while, I have a lead that comes in near the end of sections. And then during the pre-chorus and hook, I also have a synth that plays. I have two different variations. This is the one that plays during the pre-chorus. I'll play that for you. And those two notes just loop and keep happening throughout the pre-chorus. And then the full version of it is right here. Now obviously I got the echo on that too, and that plays during the hook. So that does it for most of the melodies. That pretty simple, not a lot there. This beat more focuses on the bass and drums. So let's move on to the bass. With the bass, we have just some respaces essentially that are layered to widen the sound. So this is the main one right here. And that sound just repeats a bunch of times. And then we have the same MIDI, but just different sounds. I think on these, I took a lot of the low end out, and then I panned them to the left and right, just to give the bass a more unique and wider sound. So let me play both of those at the same time. And then the same exact bass plays for majority of the track. It comes in and out in some occasions, but it's basically the same thing for most of the track. Now, let's move on to the third section that we got here, the drums. I got a lot here, so this might take a moment. First here, we got the kick patterns. Play a little bit for you. It gives you an idea what it sounds like. Then I have the same thing, but just layered. Just layered it to give it a more unique sound. I got some low end as mine in the kicks. We have a rim sound. And overall, the goal was to make this whole drum section very rhythmic, a bit of an Afro vibe. So after the rims, we got a snare here that comes in occasionally. And then we have snaps too that come in occasionally near the end of sections. And then we got two different snaps layered together. Alright, now here's what all the kicks, rims, snare, and snaps sound like together. We got the hi-hats, so in this, I got the hi-hats, shakers, basically two shakers. So we got 3 kind of hi-hat type sounds. So this is the first actual hi-hat. Here is shaker number 1. We got a simple melody, basically 16th notes, but they vary in volume, so you get a bit of a rhythm to it. Nice. And then we got the second shaker right here, which has a bit more rhythm. Still playing with the volume automation a little bit. Altogether, it sounds like this for the hi-hats and shakers. Or open hi-hat. As for we move into the percussion area of the drums, we got a tambourine that plays and comes in occasionally. Perk number 2. We got percussion 3. This one's panned a good amount to the left. Appears near the beginning of sections. Here we go. Another percussion element. Percussion 5 sounds like this. Kind of like a rim sounding type percussion almost. I guess this is kind of a bongo drum type pattern over here. There's a few different options. I think I might even have the African kit that I used for this. We got 2 voxes panned to the left and right. Here's the first one. And then now here's the second one. And to finish off the drums, we have a crash. Now, all together, here are what the drums sound like. Alright, very nice, very rhythmic. I like the sound of that. Now, effects. We got a few different effects that appear in this track. The first effects will be just a vinyl noise that plays throughout the whole track. It's pretty quiet and subtle, but it's there to give the track a little more texture and whatnot. The second effect that we got that comes in occasionally near the beginning of verses and things like that is the light impact. Another FX element we got here is a riser that comes in right before the hook. Alright, we have another impact, but this one's a little more thicker, more boomier, subbier impacts. Except I did take out some of the low end on this one, so it doesn't conflict with the bass. And that does it for the FX. Alright, now I think that basically sums it up for the whole track. Overall, we had about 38 tracks roughly. We had a lot of layers, a lot of fun, but this one was a fun one to make, again, in the style of a 1111 Chris Brown type instrumental. I like how this sound. I did get a lot of inspiration from the Shooter track. If you know that track, this is kind of similar to that. That basically ends it for me. I'm going to play the instrumental now. So that'll be the end of the video. So stick for that. But if you liked this video, like it, subscribe, do all this stuff. If you got any ideas, put in the comment section below. Tell me what you think. But now, it's time to play the track. So let's do it.